Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. I'm Barry Bryson, and we're continuing our study of the Gospel of Luke, and we're in Luke chapter 8. We're just going to read 3 verses today. Maybe I'll keep it right at 5 minutes. 3 verses, Luke chapter 8, verses 19 through 21. Again, this is an event that we have in the other synoptic Gospels. I think I said yesterday that the longest version is in Mark chapter 6, but it's in Mark chapter 3. I gave you wrong information, but I'm correcting it today. And it's about Jesus' mother and brothers coming to him. So let's read this. His mother came to him, and his brothers also, and they were unable to get to him because of the crowd. And it was reported to him, Your mother and your brothers are standing outside wishing to see you. But he answered and said to them, My mother and my brothers are those who hear the word of God and do it. Okay, if you didn't have access to Mark or Matthew, you might think this a little bit harsh, but we do, and I think Luke did too. Luke tells us that others have written gospels, and he also says that he did research himself and talked to eyewitnesses. He told that in the first verses of the book of Luke. So I have no doubt, personally, I know many scholars do. I'm just a local preacher. I have no doubt that Luke had access to Mark's gospel. Um, in Mark's gospel, we know more. In Mark's gospel, in Mark chapter 3, we know that but prior to this happening, Jesus' mother and brothers tried to take legal custody of him, claiming that he was insane. That is an enormous problem, is it not? And we also then understand when he wouldn't go out to see them, why he would not. Maybe they're waiting to try to take custody of him. Or maybe if their attitude is this way and they're going to say things like this, the distance between him and his family has to be significant or it will damage his ministry. The one thing we know about Jesus is that everything was done in its time. We know this. My time is not yet. Jesus did everything exactly at the right time to lead to the cross. And so he's not going out to his mother and his brothers. Every one of the four gospels tell us that that the relationship with Jesus and his earthly family during the time of his ministry, even before that, was difficult. We know this from Luke's gospel. We know this from the end of chapter 2 when Jesus, at 12 years old, stayed behind in Jerusalem. And his mother yelled at him, interrupted school at the great synagogue school at the temple, and yelled at him and said, Why did you do this to your father and I? We know this in John 2, Jesus' first miracle at Cana in Galilee. Woman, how is this my business? My time is not yet. It's not time for this yet. And we know it from Mark's gospel. We know how badly his brothers thought of him, treated him from John chapter 8, when his brothers, knowing full well the Jews were laying in wait in Jerusalem to kill Jesus, they were taunting him to go to Jerusalem. It's cold. We also know that even though his brothers weren't there for his crucifixion, his mother was, and he took care of her from the cross. And we know from the book of Acts, that they were there with the disciples after the death, burial, and resurrection. But during this time, this is difficult. And we see that here. I mean, Luke tells us to. And he says, My family are the people who believe in me. And this connects a bit with what he said just in the last chapter about his cousin John the Baptist, that that the relationships that we have because of his blood are more meaningful than the blood relationships we have, which doesn't mean that that our blood relationships don't matter. They do, and we're told our responsibility to our spouse, to our parents, to our children. Children are a gift from God. They're given to us in trust. Jesus is in no way um, minimizing the importance of our responsibilities to our earthly family. Jesus is saying that if we're forced to make a choice between one or the other, we know what choice we have to make. Um, and Jesus was being forced to either pursue his ministry or cater to his folks, his people, his family who wanted it to end. And we see what choice he made. Okay, we're going to pick up with verse 22 next time. Let's look forward to that. And I want to thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word.